What's up? What's up? Okay, I got a message from a friend or comment from a friend or from a subscriber saying living in Japan from a male's perspective. So I'm going to talk about two ways. I'm going to just give it different perspectives and stuff. Okay. First perspective is being married and coming to Japan for the first time. Well, if you come to Japan for the first time, this is what you're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to deal with the fact that there's going to be a lot of people here that's going to look different with a lot of features. There are a lot of women out here that got some big, thick lips. It's a lot of women out here got wide noses like we have them and stuff. Sometimes they'll be long and wide. Sometimes they'll be a little flat and wide. Most of them, they wide, you know. Some really fleshy lips and stuff like that. Some of these girls have dark skin. Some Japanese people, they have naturally curly hair. Some girls have naturally curly hair. You go to Okinawa and they're darker and they look black and stuff like that. And actually, like people say Japanese, they're all one people. They're not one people. Like the people that's on the main island, they got the control, but you got a different set of people up north in Hokkaido, and they're the original people. And then you got the ones on the islands, like in Okinawa. And I guess what happened was the ones on this island, they went to Okinawa and fight and killed people, killed the men, slaughtered them, I guess, or something like that. And the Okinawans do not like Japanese people. As a matter of fact, Okinawans call themselves Okinawans before they consider themselves Japanese, you know. And I went down there, and a lot of them curly hair, you know. And I guess the Africans that were there, or I guess they said the original people in Japan probably more likely were Africans and stuff, or whatever, however they look, because all Africans don't look alike either. But still, you can see the black in them. And down south in Kyushu too, you can see it down in there. I mean, you can tell. You look at them, they got their faces are like ours, where the jaws protrude out and stuff. I forgot what it's called. You know, like the other day I was looking at this one Japanese lady, and I mean her jaw was just way out there into big pretty lips, you know, and it was a trip. But anyway, you know, you're gonna come out here, you're gonna be married and stuff. You probably won't find a job too soon. So you're probably going around catching the buses or the trains and stuff like that. And if you're wearing a suit, you know, the girls, you know, they don't know if you're married. Even if you got a married ring on, you know, sometimes, you know, that's an omen. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's not a bad thing, because women mess with a lot of married men because, you know, there's no, what is it called? No dedication or nothing like that. You know, it's just all play. Living expenses out here can get high. It's according to how much money you make and stuff like that. To live out here halfway decent, you should at least make $2,500. You know, maybe live in an apartment and stuff, $500 or $400 if you can find one and stuff. You know, they got some nice apartments, you know, that's cheap. And if you go into Osaka, though, it's kind of expensive and stuff. When I moved out here, I think our rent was like, well, my wife had her apartment, so it was like $800 and something. But, you know, on my videos, my first employment, I was doing that job, making like $500 to $900 a month, you know. I mean, a day, you know, doing that. And, but I didn't, all that money that she made, you know, we made with the business, I didn't touch none of that. All the money I made was my own job and pachinko and stuff like that. Let's see, what else? Oh, finding jobs, you know, I don't know. Like in Japan right now, their population is shrinking because the men aren't marrying the women aren't getting married, and nobody's having kids anymore. So their population is shrinking. And as the population shrinks, the people getting older, and they kind of are in need for some professionals. So if any brothers out there, you got degrees, engineering degrees, any kind of professions, doctors and nurses and stuff out there, sisters too, you come out here, because a lot of Filipino women coming out here, people are coming out here and from Indonesia and from the the islands out here and stuff, and working in Japan, as nurses. I don't know exactly what they're doing because, you do need to learn the language and stuff, and they do got schools to teach you. And there's this thing called Lang8.com, www.sharedtalk.com. You can find live tutors from all over the world teaching you all kinds of languages and stuff like that. I'm giving up all this information. You guys make that money. Y'all kick me back. Kick me back for giving up this info and stuff. Because I should write a book and do it, but I'll trust you and stuff. Which I ain't gonna sound trusting you, but please, what else is going on? And then when you get married, your wife, you might be married in the States, but when they come over here, they have to move back into their regular mode of being Japanese and being a woman and bowing down all the time and get back into their mode, if they're going to work in the office or wherever they're going to work, I mean, some things are changing and stuff, but it's according to how old she is, they're going to have to get back into their mode and stuff. And the money they make, unless they have their own business, they might not be making all that much money and stuff. Let's see. If you have kids, you got to pay for insurance. My insurance is like $500, or I think almost $600 every month that I have to pay out and stuff, my family and stuff. And well, I shouldn't say pay out, but they'll be paying and stuff. And the gas out here, it's expensive. According to where you go right now, it's $1.25 a liter, and that's for regular and unleaded, or they call it I forgot what they call it. High oak or something like that. I pay it's 10 cents higher. The freeways, every time you get on them, you got to pay money. So if I go to Osaka, I'm paying at least $15. Now it's discount, but at the end of the month they're gonna stop all that, so it goes back up to the regular prices and stuff. And so that's gonna be a lot of money. If your car get broke, then it's on be somewhere always between like $3,000 to $1,000 to get it fixed. The insurance and stuff, it's real cool out here. If you get an accident, and you get moving violations, it doesn't affect your insurance out here, but it affects your driving license. You get points and stuff, and you get so many points and stuff, and they'll take your driver's license away from you, or you get it suspended and stuff like that, If you come out here, bring a international driver's license. If you stay for more than 3 months, it's only good for 3 months. Before that, don't just go to the DMV out here and get your driver's license. Some places you can just take a test. It's a test. It's pictures, only 10 answers, and you get a eye test, and that's it. You get your Japanese driver's license and stuff. Don't just warn some people. They play dumb, and they have their international license, and sometimes it be outdated. But some of the cops, they don't be paying attention, but some do, and if you get caught, you go, and if they catch you, you get caught. You could be talking about $3,000 out here, and the fines you do have to pay. Otherwise they'll come and get you and stuff like that. Out here drinking and driving is $3,000 or $5,000. You got to pay that.